Welcome to the Cory Turner Show. I'm Cory. This is our segment called Things You Don't Know. Basically, Connie has gone out. She's found a true story, one that she thinks that you don't know about and one she thinks I don't know about. She's written the story. I have the script right here. I'm going to read it to you for the very first time, and we're going to find out if she was able to stump us. I do have a special guest with me today. Come here, buddy. This is Dwight. He's a good boy. Aren't you a good boy? Yeah, you are. Yeah. He doesn't like to be on camera, so we'll see. We'll see if he sticks around with us for a while. But let's jump into this bad boy right here. Today's story. Ghost hunter stabbed in a haunted house while alone. Oh, okay. That's interesting. True story, right? True story. Okay. On November 7th of 2014, a paranormal investigator was stabbed in the chest while investigating the infamous Villisca axe. Villisca. I'm probably saying that wrong. The Villisca axe murder house in Villisca, Iowa. He was the only living person in the room. Whoa, that's crazy. Okay, got my attention. And I apologize to anybody in Villisca, Iowa, because I'm sure I'm totally butchering that name. It's probably pronounced in such a way that I've heard it a million times, but maybe I haven't read it. But anyway, okay. Wow, okay. Ghost hunter stabbed in a haunted house. Okay. The Villisca axe murderer house in Iowa was home to a gruesome murder dating back to 1912. I don't know if I like where this is going. On June 9th, 1912, the Moore family were headed home from an evening church service. The family included Josiah Moore, his wife, their 3 sons, and their daughter. Also joining them on that evening were 2 girls, friends of their daughter, who were invited over to spend the night. Yeah, don't like where that's going. You know, I always hate when there's like a last minute change of plans and like we're all together, but the family's going to split and the kids are going to ride in a different car or go somewhere else. And it's like, you always get that moment like, is this a good idea? I have a feeling this was not a good idea. Oh, nervous laughter. Let's see where this goes. I guess that makes me sound like a pessimist. I'm not a pessimist in any way about that. It's just those kind of weird feelings you have. Anyway, okay, back to the story. The next morning, something didn't seem right to one of the Moore's neighbors. Normally, the Moore house was bustling with activity. The sounds of kids playing and yelling filled the air, but not on this day. When the house was still silent at 7 a.m., the neighbor went up to the house. She knocked on the door, but no one answered. She tried to open the door, but found it locked. I don't know, maybe 1912 is a different time, but there's few people, maybe really good friends, but just neighbors. I don't know if I'd be trying to open up their door if they didn't answer. Probably 1912 is probably a little bit different time frame, but I don't know. Nowadays you get shot, so. Okay, anyway, she went to all the doors and was concerned when they were all locked. She tried to look into the windows, but they were all covered. Now, very concerned, she called Josiah Moore's brother. So she called the homeowner's brother. When the brother arrived at the home, he unlocked the door and was horrified at the scene. Do we want to know? I don't know if I want to know what the scene is. Throughout the house, he found the mutilated dead bodies of his brother's family and the 2 young girls. Yep, that went south. That went south really bad. So how many people was that? So the husband, the wife, they had 3 boys, the daughter, and the 2 friends, like 8 people? Woo! Murder wasn't a common thing for the small town. So when 2 adults and 6 children, 8, I should just keep reading and that's, sorry, I get a little sidetracked. When 2 adults and 6 children had their skulls crushed in by an axe, word spread quickly and the police lost control of the crime scene. I can only imagine in 1912, what did you have, like newspaper? Yeah, it's like pretty much newspaper. So to have like a major crime scene happening all at one time, like right there, I would imagine the town was bustling about that. It's really scary too. It's not like a car accident you go and see what happened, but like people were murdered in your small town. That's terrible. It's estimated that over 100 locals rushed the crime scene and roamed through the house staring at the mutilated bodies. Ugh. Okay. I think now we're a little desensitized to stuff because we see a lot of stuff on TV. Movies are very realistic, special effects and that. In 1912, I mean, that's, whew, people walking through looking at mutilated and people that were killed with an axe, that's pretty strong. Woo, okay. So there was no DNA in 1912. Even fingerprint evidence was in its infancy. So investigators had little to work with, considering the crime scene had been completely contaminated by the curious locals roaming through the house. Yeah, that's a major problem. Like chain of evidence and locking down a crime scene. I would imagine, you know, I don't know this small town at all. I can't even hardly pronounce it. But I wouldn't imagine there's probably been 8 people killed in the past decade, let alone all at one time at one night. So I'm sure the police were probably freaked out and horrified by it too. So they probably didn't do a very good job of locking down the situation. Who would have expected that at all? But anyway, what they did know, what the police did know, was the weapon used was an axe. From gouge marks in the ceilings caused by the upswing of the axe. Oh, okay. So as the axe went up, hit the ceiling, they determined the murderer was a very short individual. Okay, so the ceilings were probably pretty low, so the axe went up and hit it. Whew. The odd thing about the gouge marks were they were nowhere near the bodies, okay? But they were in the center of the room, in the ceiling in the center of the room, which indicated the axe was swung around in an intimidation fashion or as a celebration of the killings. Ugh. Okay, with lack of evidence, or uncontaminated evidence, the case was unsolved and has been referred to as America's greatest unsolved mystery. Did you ever used to watch that show, Unsolved Mysteries? I actually really, really liked that show. I had a friend, I used to live in Ruidoso, New Mexico. I used to go to school with like Neil Patrick Harris, who played Doogie Howser, and then another guy named Ethan. And I remember I moved away and I was watching Unsolved Mysteries one night with, was it Robert Stack? I think that's the guy's name. And all of a sudden Ethan was on there because some people had run him and his buddies off the road and they were trying to solve that murder. So that was crazy. Okay, sorry. If you've watched any of my shows, you know I get a little sidetracked. So I think I got really sidetracked in the last one, the Paul McCartney's Dead video. You'll have to watch that if you haven't seen it. So I always get a little bit sidetracked. But okay. This case was unsolved and referred to as America's greatest unsolved mystery. There were 3 suspects, though none of them were convicted. The suspects were there was a serial killer with ties to other similar murders. Okay, well, that's probably a tie-in there, right? A state senator, ooh, okay, plot thickens. A state senator who was thought to have hired a hitman to kill Moore. And the other was a traveling preacher with a history of sexual misconduct. Ugh, okay. There were signs of sexual assault at the crime scene. Okay, so axe murder and sexual assault, that's terrible. Okay. So fast forward to 1994. How many is that? So it's 1912. 82 years, right? Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but 82 years. When the house was purchased by Martha Lynn, it was lovingly restored back to its 1912 glory, including removing all plumbing and electricity. That's roughing it, right? And it was converted into a paranormal tourist attraction. Of course it was. Okay. Nothing against Martha Lynn. I'm sure that's pretty awesome. That's weird. Taking all the plumbing and electricity and putting it back. But okay, anyway. For the low cost of only $428 a night, you can stay at the old house, which by now has been reported as haunted. Visitors brave enough to spend the night in the home emerged with crazy paranormal stories, including some who claimed to see the vision of a man wandering the hallways carrying an axe. And if that wasn't scary enough, then the reports of screaming children being heard might be enough to make you believe. Okay, woo, okay. And I have some friends, I have some buddies that they would definitely go and do this. They would, I lost my place. They would go and spend the night in this place. No, I don't like haunted houses. I don't like jump scares. I'm not, I'm not signing up to go stay in a haunted house, but I can see the attraction. I can see where people probably wanted to. I did want to take some of those haunted tours. I think like Fort Worth, New Orleans, they have those haunted tours. That would be kind of cool, but I don't know if I want to spend the night in a place like that. But anyway, for a decade, the house became a main tourist destination for those wanting to test their bravery and see if just maybe ghosts exist. All was good until a fateful night in November of 2014. Ooh. On November 7th, 2014, Robert Stephen Larson Jr., who was 37 at the time, made his pilgrimage to the house with a group of friends. It was on this recreational paranormal investigation field trip, all right, that's a mouthful, on this field trip when the house created another mystery. I can almost hear the bump, bump, bump music. At around 12:45 a.m., while his friends were outside, Robert was alone in the northwest bedroom of the house. It was at this time that the friends received frantic calls for help over their walkie-talkies. Okay, everything's cooler with walkie-talkies. Right? I mean, that talk about Secret Mission and 007 and paranormal investigators. Got to have your walkie-talkie. That's cool. Okay, sorry. Back to the story. It was at this time that the friends received frantic calls for help over their walkie-talkies. They rushed to the northwest bedroom and found their friend Robert stabbed in the chest. Huh. The timing seemed eerily similar to the time that the Moore family was slain. Okay, that's a stretch, right? Because, I mean, it was at night. The Moore family had to have been slain sometime in the night. What am I thinking? I know 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., sometime in the night. Okay, so it's happening at night. I think that's a stretch to say it was a similar time frame. Anyway, it was at nighttime. Okay. Well, okay. 911 was called, and Robert was taken to a nearby hospital, but due to the severity of his injury, he was taken by helicopter to the Creighton University Medical Center in Omaha. Would he survive to tell the story of what happened? Well, no. Wait, what? He didn't survive? How? Then how are we going to know? How are we going to know what happened? I mean, who's going to tell the story? There was a movie that drove me crazy. Was it The Perfect Storm? Is that the one where, like, I think Wahlberg was in it? Clooney, maybe? Anyway, it was like these guys on a boat, and they're out and about, and if you haven't seen that movie and you want to, don't listen any further. Come back later, because there's going to be a spoiler here. But all these interactions, what they have, and these moments of them together, and these overcoming these personal issues and these triumphs they have, and then you're like, one of them has to live because someone's got to tell the story of these, what happened on this boat with these guys and this, all this drama, and then no one survived. And I'm like, well, then that's all speculation, right? Now later I heard that there might have been some radio transmissions they heard, but there's no way you knew those intimate conversations between those people. So, okay, anyway, I get sidetracked. Okay, but anyway here. So this guy didn't survive? So how are we going to know what happened to him? That's terrible. Okay. Robert survived. What? He said no, he didn't. Robert survived his injuries, but refused to tell anybody what happened. Oh, okay, so up here it was, would he survive to tell the story of what happened to him? Well, no. Oh! Trickery in writing. I caught you. He survived, but he didn't tell the story. Why would you not tell the story? Despite inquiries throughout the years, Robert has never spoken publicly of the occurrence or its shadowy events. Why would you not say what happened? You were stabbed in the chest while you were by yourself in a haunted house? There's no way. That would be like, okay, I'm totally an extrovert, but come on, I'd have a t-shirt made, right? I'd be like, hey, I survived the ghost or something. There's no way I wouldn't do that. According to police and hospital reports, Robert was stabbed in the chest, but the final findings stated that Robert suffered a self-inflicted stab wound to the chest. What? He stabbed himself in the chest? What is... He stabbed himself in the chest. How do you stab yourself in the chest? It doesn't say it was like he fell on something. It says he was a stab wound to the chest. You had to stab yourself. No wonder he probably didn't talk about it. That's terrible. How do you, what, I'm so don't understand. Sadly, we may never know what happened that mysterious night on November 7th, 2014. Just like we may never know who killed the Moore family and their friends back in 1912. I think it's pretty certain we're not going to know what happened, who killed them back in 1912. I would think everything, any evidence and anybody involved with that is already gone. But this Robert guy in 2014, come on, man. It's time, right? Is it not time to write a book, tell a story, start a YouTube channel, do something and let us know what happened inside the Villisca axe murderer house when you were by yourself in that northwest bedroom? Okay, so did you know about that story? True story? I got to tell you right now, Connie wins. I had never heard of that story, and I'm almost sad that I know about it now because 8 people being just butchered in a house and apparently some sexual assault, that's terrible. But then to know that another guy in the house got stabbed in the chest, but maybe he stabbed himself, Did a ghost make him stab himself? Has that been talked about? But we're never going to know. That's frustrating to me because we're not going to know the details. The story is still good. I'm not putting down the story, but I would like some more details. I need more details. More details on that. So hopefully a follow-up. So if you know anything, if you have a chance, I would go check out that house. It sounds pretty cool. I would probably take the day tour. I don't think I would spend the night. I don't think I could do that. I wonder if you could take a day tour. If so, leave me a comment. Let me know. That would actually probably be a really, really cool trip. Those places are awesome. If you have a chance to visit those. I'm just not up for spending the night. I don't think I could handle that. So anyway, if you can, let me know. If you like this story, if you like hearing these stories, be sure to leave me a comment, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, give me a like, leave us a comment, let us know, share us with your friends. Normally I talk about entertainment stuff and movies. Like I said, this is a new segment, so I'm still going to do my normal out, even though we're not talking about a movie right now. Oh, I did talk about a movie. Perfect Storm. Right, Perfect Storm? I think that's what it was. Anyway, so let's talk about movies tomorrow.